Happy Friday, everyone. God bless you. I hope that you're having an amazing day. This is the day that the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, I was listening to Daniel chapter 1 and chapter 2. I have studied the book of Daniel before, but I'm coming back to this book because I just love Daniel. I love Daniel, and you can learn so much from this mighty man of God. And we can apply the same principles that he applied to his life, and we can see the hand of God move in our lives the way that he moved for Daniel. So in chapter 1, I just kept playing it over and over because there's so much in just the first chapter, the first 21 scriptures. But I highlighted a few things. The first thing that stood out to me the most was that Daniel purposed in his heart, right? He made that decision that he was not going to defile his temple when they were brought to the king's palace, right? They were wise, they were smart, and they were brought to the king's palace, and Daniel already made up in his mind and in his heart that he was not going to defile his body with the king's meat or the wine, right? And as the next verse after that, this is in Daniel chapter 1 verses 8, it says, "But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested for the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself." But then in verse 9 it says, "Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs." And I'm like, oh wow. If we want favor from God, favor comes from God to men through men. Now, I learned this from Apostle Joshua Selman. Favor comes from God to men through men. And then when you pray and you ask a favor, God, please grant me favor with you and with men. And he does, because he's looking at your heart. So I was just pondering on that first verse, and I'm like, I'm inclined to believe that the reason why God granted him not only favor but tender love with the prince of the eunuchs for the king, who was afraid of the king too, because Nebuchadnezzar was a fierce king, right? He was a very fierce and hasty man. As I was reading that, I'm like, God looked at Daniel's, the posture of his heart, and he was pleased with what Daniel decided to do. I want to please the Lord, so I'm not going to defile my temple by eating the king's meat and drinking his wine. And God gave him not only favor, but favor with tender love. And as you read Daniel, you can see, as you read the first chapter and the second chapter, because I ain't moved to the third yet, you can see that is what God, he actually received that favor with the prince of the eunuchs, and you can see that there was love, like he loved him, you know. Also in verse 17 for chapter 1, it says, well, as you continue to read the chapter, you see that they didn't eat the meat, but they ended up looking much better than the other wise young people that ate the meat. They looked so much more better than them. And it says here, "And as for the 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams." Wow. And then skip to 19. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. So that means he was placed in a position of power and prestige throughout all of King Nebuchadnezzar's reign, and up until the first year of King Cyrus, which is amazing, and that came from God. And we can receive the same favor and tender love through men from God, as long as our heart posture is correct and it is right with God. Because man looks at the outer appearance, but God looks at the heart. He looks at our hearts. What comes out of our mouth, if it doesn't connect, or if it is not in alignment with what is in our hearts, God knows. Yeah. The main thing I wanted to share in this video today is this prayer that Daniel prayed in Daniel chapter 2, which I find it to be it's simple but very powerful. So I'm going to read it for you. All right, so it is in Daniel chapter 2, and I'm going to read from verses 16 to 23. Right, the prayer begins in 19. All right. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would shew the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions. Now, first of all, we need friends like Daniel's friends. We need to make sure that we're walking with the right company, because bad company corrupts good manners. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, carry on. That they would desire mercies of God, of the God of heaven, concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Because when you read chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar, man, sir, I don't understand how you want me to interpret your dream that you forgot. Anyway, God can do anything. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, this is the prayer, it's so beautiful. Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and in the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Wow. So if you want favor and tender love from God, you can get it. You can get it. But you have to make sure that your heart is right. That when God sees your heart, it is right. And he will grant you the desires of your heart. You know what I mean? And go and read Daniel chapter 1 and 2. Study it. Just read Daniel. God bless you.